Canadians are being lied to every single day by our government, by our politicians, by even the mainstream media, which is a good reminder to like and subscribe to a channel like mine where you get the truth. And we're trying to take on mainstream media. We're doing a good job of it, by the way, guys. We're almost at like 300,000 subscribers, which is insanely mind-blowing. Today we're talking about Justin Trudeau's new Volkswagen deal, where apparently there's a Volkswagen plant that's being brought to Ontario. And when we look at the details of this, it's not hip, hooray or yip yip hooray for Canada, because it actually costs us a lot of money. How much money? Well, we don't know. That's where the whole thing about us being lied to comes into play. But before we switch screens, I want to encourage you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're growing, guys. We're growing, and best time to do it now than ever with Bill C11 on the way. Or I guess it's already here. Hello, can you even see the videos? I hope so. Pierre Poilievre said this money belongs to Canadians, not a foreign corporation, not to Justin Trudeau. How much of Canadians' money is he giving to this foreign corporation? How many jobs? And how much is the cost per job? How much? This is what the minister who's in charge, Liberal minister, by the way, had to say about the situation when being asked by mainstream media, CTV.
In addition to what you laid out, I'm going to ask you very bluntly, Minister, did you have to cut them a check, and how big of one?
Well, listen, you always have to be part of I always say government have to be part of the equation when you come to these large investments. You mentioned the Inflation Reduction Act in the United States. You will recall that in the fall economic statement, we said that we intend to level the playing field, that we would be selective. So obviously, government have to be part of the equation. But I would say, Vashi, you never win on the money because there are jurisdictions who can offer far more than what Canada can ever offer. So you have to push other factors, for example, like I said, the talent of our workers, the proximity to critical minerals, the fact that renewable energy is the way to go.
And I appreciate all those points, and I'm certainly not trying to take away from them.
But how much
But it's
did
a really
it cost?
long-winded way of not answering, Minister, the original question I posed.
No,
am I to interpret from your answer that the federal government did invest, did cut the company a check? And again, I'm going to ask on behalf of Canadians, I'm not saying the investment isn't a worthwhile one, but how significant is it? How big is the size of the check you had to cut?
So I'll answer very clearly your question. Canada had to be part of the equation. And I'm not going to go into the details because we have discussions with many others. So discussions are commercially sensitive. But as always, Vashi will recall, we always make that information public in due course. But you would appreciate, as you're doing for Canadians, I'm the one negotiating on their behalf. So I need to make sure that what's commercially sensitive, as we have discussions with many players in the industries, in many sectors, at this moment, that would not be appropriate, but that the information will be disclosed in due course, as we always do, and when we have these major investments.
Now, this is what's pretty sketchy, among many other things, is the fact that there's no transparency. There's no debate. There's no discussion around these massive costs. There's speculation that this cost over $30 billion of taxpayers' money for something that we didn't even know was an option. We had no idea that this was happening. No discussion, no negotiations available to the public. Just these crazy, crazy business deals that are happening with our money, our taxpayers' money. It's hard to trust our government when there's, well, I shouldn't even say little to no transparency, when there's just no transparency. Let's take a look at the article here from CBC. The debate over industrial policy may be over, or maybe just getting started. Industrial policy isn't back in fashion because it never really fell out of fashion. The most interesting thing about question period is often what's not said. I've been saying that for like as long as I can remember. That's the best part of question period, is when they just don't answer things, because you're hiding something. Last week, for instance, the official opposition asked not a single question about the federal government's decision to provide as much as $13 billion in subsidies over the next decade to Volkswagen to help get a massive battery plant up and running in St. Thomas, Ontario. Okay, I thought it was 30 billion. I guess I accidentally doubled it. I knew there was a 3 in there somewhere. 13 billion. The Conservatives might plead that there were simply other matters. The public sector strike, Pierre Trudeau Foundation, that required their attention. But their relative silence was conspicuous, especially given Pierre Poilievre's history of deriding corporate welfare. Yeah, well, there's only so many questions Pierre can ask, and in his defense, he has been silenced multiple times by the House Speaker, right, where they've actually taken questions away from him, which is something that happened quite recently. So I'm sure he will bring it up. Not that Poilievre has been completely silent on the issue. There you go, just like I said. After the details were announced, the Conservative leader asked the parliamentary budget officer to provide analysis of the deal. A month ago, when the basic outline of an argument was first reported, Poilievre also posted a series of pointed questions to Twitter, which is what we saw at the beginning of this video. Trudeau seized on that tweet last week and practically dared the Conservative leader to oppose the deal. But at this point, it seemed like Poilievre is prepared to do much more than haggle over the price. Poilievre's relatively restrained response could be put down to simple politics. The Conservatives might be loath to condemn something that will provide employment to people in southwestern Ontario in a riding held by the Conservative MP, no less. The enthusiastic involvement of Ontario's progressive Conservative government likely also makes it harder for Poilievre to criticize the deal. And this is an important thing right here that we just said. Ontario's progressive Conservative government. That's the thing about Canada is we have, liberal power or liberal prime minister, and then we have a progressive conservative opposition. We don't have like in America, they have a real opposition. We don't have that. And I think that there's a lot of fear from the leader of the opposition and the current conservative members of parliament to actually be real oppositions. Things that some people would really like for the conservative government to condemn are what I'm about to say, but not limited to. The whole transgender agenda, putting a age of consent on transgender and puberty blockers and things like that. That's a really massive concern for a lot of people, even normies, right? Even liberals. I've got liberal friends, liberal family that say, yeah, I don't think that they should be doing that to 8-year-olds. So it's a big thing that a lot of Canadians wish. They wish that our opposition would really step up to the plate and be a true opposition instead of a progressive opposition. But as we approach the end of the video, I'd love to know what you guys think. Two-part question. I'd love to know what you guys think about this whole Volkswagen deal. Are you on board with it? Do you agree with how much we've spent? Second, I'd like to know what you guys think would be a great thing for our conservative government to really oppose, like be a true opposition to. And the whole transgender thing, I think, is, first of all, that's my idea. So if you're going to copy and paste that down in the comments, you're more than welcome to, but just know that I said it before you. I'm kidding. But a lot of the conservative MPs also did say that they stand with Transgender Day of Visibility or whatever that was, like a month ago or a few weeks ago. And I don't think many adults have a problem with consenting adults doing that. It's just, what's the age of consent? That's what a lot of people would like to know. That's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.